What is going on, everybody? This is Drew with Profit Monsters here with my two best friends in the entire world, Josh, aka Harry Tornado, and Joey Bada Bing 22, your local mailman. This is season 1, episode 8 of the Triple Thrift podcast. Welcome in and thanks for listening. We hope you guys are enjoying the series and the content. We hope that it makes you laugh, puts a smile on your face, helps you with your reselling business and everything far and between. So this episode, we're just going to start off by kind of catching up because we obviously didn't do a podcast last week, which I take total blame for, which I will explain after my two best friends tell us what's been going on in their life for the last 2 weeks. So Josh, take it away.
Okay, so yeah, we're back. I missed it, man. I missed last week. I had a bunch of people send me messages on Instagram and comments on YouTube and emails and asking where the latest episode was. So I'm honored that so many people missed it. It's good to be missed. If people are wondering where the episode is, that means they're enjoying it, and I definitely appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to take a listen to our little podcast here. My week was pretty good. It's getting into that time of the year. My packages are starting to get lost in the mail and getting the messages from eBay buyers wondering why their item they bought 3 weeks ago is stuck in Chicago when it was supposed to go to California. And it's it's just a lot going on, but I'm excited. Sales have been really good. I had a big listing day last week, which for me is, I mean, I'm pretty open. Like I hate listing. Like that's like the worst part about the business, but it sucks because that's what you have to do. So I sat down last week and I think I listed 43 things in one day, but then like 25 sold like overnight. So
Wow, that's a really
it's
good ratio. It means you're
it
picking up
is.
good
It
stuff.
is. And it was probably like half and half, like about 12, maybe 12 to 15 like of the items that sold were listed that day, and the other 12 to 15 or 12 whatever, the other ones were older items. So that really does show that if you sit down and list, eBay is gonna push attention to your store. I guess. I mean, I did get a few viewer sales, but I mean, a lot of those things that sold have been listed for months, and just me sitting down to list heavily that day triggered their sales. So we can talk about that later on too. But yeah, week was good. Joey, what about you?
What's going on, guys? I appreciate you guys listening on in, and I'm so glad to be back. I just wanted to say that my week or the last 2 weeks have kind of been not good for me. Been very, very in the dumps. I don't know why. I just really, really, really am not like myself right now, and I really want to get back into the swing of things. I just put out a YouTube video today. It's Sunday, and I'm really about to like really go full force, and I'm really excited to list and to start thrifting more, and just get really down in the ground and just get ready. I really want this so bad, and I've been really contemplating. I know we keep talking about this, but I really want to go full time, and it's really showing. And it's just my mental health is just really not there right now. And it's, I don't know. I really need help, from my two best friends here. So, like, what do you guys think?
Well, I think it
Uh,
depends on exactly what you're kind of trying to go for here. I mean, Joey and I talk on a pretty consistent weekly basis, like on the phone and stuff. And we've had some pretty deep conversations just about, life and his job, your job, I should say, and just about your financial situation and you wanting to be a YouTuber and all that kind of stuff. And, it's interesting because you do have like, one side of the curve of, I guess you could say, like most older people who are probably over the age of 35 or older. Everybody's saying, keep your job, Joey, make your money. I wish I had a job like yours. And then you have the younger people that are more like me and Gary Vee, that are saying, quit your job, do what makes you happy, figure life out. You can always get another job. And so, it's tough to be kind of like in the middle of that. But before we dive too deep into that, I just wanted to jump back and tell everybody the reason, for those who don't know, why we didn't record the podcast last week was because I tested positive for COVID-19. And so I've been quarantining myself inside my house. For those of you guys who know me, I am a major extrovert. I love being out and about and sourcing and thrifting and going to the bins, flea markets, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going on almost day 10 right now. And I have not gone to one place. I have not even done a Facebook Marketplace pickup in 10 days, and it's driving me insane. So that's the reason that we didn't record on Monday of last week, or Sunday, I guess you could say, is when we normally record, because on Fridays I tested positive, and then the next day I was like throwing up all night, and it was just bad. I was shaking. I had a bad fever, like a 101-degree fever. So I've just been resting and sleeping a lot, trying to get my body back into healthy condition so I can get back out there. And I've just been slowly listing stuff that I have around my house, like odds and ends here and there. For most of you guys who follow me, you know I don't like to have big death piles. So I had some video games, I went through them and tested them, and then started to list them. And a lot of them sold, right around the time I listed them, which is good. Video games are always nice to have. But yeah, so that's where we were. That's where I was. And to anybody on Instagram or YouTube or anybody who had reached out and just checked in on me or asked how I was doing or anything like that, I really, really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to me that, kind of like what Josh said, where he's getting emails about the podcast. And then, like I missed Joey's live listing show, which I'm normally a part of. So, it just kind of, I'm excited to get back into everything and start making sourcing videos again or whatever. Putting out YouTube content now that I'm feeling better. So anyway, boys, I
I'm glad,
apologize for.
I'm glad you're back, man. I kind of was like scared for a second. It's just scary when you hear those types of things that is going on in this, in this life. It's just not the way it should be. And I'm just glad that you're feeling better, man. Really do.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I appreciate both of you guys reaching out to me and checking in on me and asking how I'm doing and stuff like that. It means a lot. So, those types of things definitely helped me just stay positive through everything, because I just, you don't really, it is a serious thing for sure. Like, it's not something to take lightly, but when the government has allowed places to be open and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing to be precautious, like wearing your mask and, if you're not healthy, stay home, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't feel like I was doing anything out of the ordinary than what I've been doing since the shutdown back in March. Like, when the thrift stores closed, I stopped going. When the thrift stores reopened, I went back and I was wearing my mask and all those kinds of things. So, it could have been literally anywhere, anything. And there's just no way of knowing where or how I contracted it when I did. But luckily, I have a pretty strong immune system, or I'm a fairly healthy individual. So, I was able to recover for the most part within like the first 4 to 5 days. And then I've just been resting and staying at home, avoiding other people and stuff. But yeah, it definitely was like a little off catching, because at first I thought I was just getting like the common cold, and I'm like, well, I got to go get tested because it's the right thing to do. That way, family and Christmas coming up, and, just like being around people from church or friends or family for the holidays just wouldn't be smart if I didn't really know, and it could have affected somebody else. So I went and got tested and tested positive, and it's like almost like dream shattering, because like you have to be home for the next 2 weeks and you can't do anything. So, and especially when you run your own business like this, that's a big deal. So, it's not anything that, if I had a real job, like let's just say I was a mailman and I caught it, and you can get paid time off or whatever if you have it built up. Like, I still rely on my eBay business to provide for my income even while I'm sick. So it's kind of like a double-sided coin, not a double-sided coin. What's the term? A catch-22, I guess you could say. Like, there's good because I own my own business, and like I was still making money while I was sick or at home sleeping. But then at the same time, I couldn't actually really run my business the way I normally do, going out sourcing, thrifting, flea markets, etc. So, but I am thankful for the sales I made. I haven't fallen too far behind. I've stayed consistent on trying to list a little bit every day or a couple here and there. Yesterday was a good day. I did like over 25 listings, which was the most I've done in like 2 weeks, which is very, very bad for me. I'm normally listing 20 to 25 things a day, so, um, but
I'm glad to see you're back at it, man.
that's right.
I mean, like I said, you got over it in the first couple of days, but then it just takes a while to get 100%. You know, I'm assuming I haven't had COVID yet, to my knowledge, but I'm assuming that once you get over the symptoms, it still takes a few days to feel, you know, yourself again, and then you still have, you know, to quarantine for the whole 14 days. So even though you're feeling better now, you still got like basically another week of sitting at the house, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm supposed to stay away for 14 days, so I'm going on day 10 right today. So somewhere around Wednesday is when like I'm supposed to be allowed to unquarantine myself. But at this point, like I don't have any sick symptoms. I don't have a stuffy nose. I don't have, I'm not sneezing or coughing. I wasn't coughing at all, thank God, or anything like that. It didn't really affect my lungs. Excuse me. But I'm feeling really good right now. I'm not going to obviously go thrifting today or anything just for the sake of following the rules of what I'm supposed to do. But hopefully around Wednesday or Thursday, I'll start getting back out there and I should be fully,
Cool.
COVID free, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, let's revisit the Joey thing, because Joey and I were talking about, you know, him wanting to quit his job and everything like that before you jumped on the podcast today, before we started. And I mean, so basically, I was trying to think about it from my perspective, because mine's a little bit different. Because if you're listening to this podcast and you don't know, you probably do, but I was laid off from my job, which is why I ended up going full time. And I don't think I don't think I ever would have had the courage to actually just up and quit. Like, I feel like I would have been constantly trying to make the switch as easy as possible, you know? Like there's such a spectrum you can look at it. Like, if you want to quit your job, some people say that, you know, once you start making more on eBay than you are at your real job, then you can quit. I'm like, do you have any idea how hard that is going to be? Like, I was making $42,000 a year, so I was bringing home like 1,200 bucks every 2 weeks after taxes and everything. I'm like, it's 45 hours a week I was spending at that job. So in order for me to make more, like, I would have to make it like about $2,500 in profit every month from eBay after spending 45 hours a week at my job to make that switch, if I followed that guy's advice, you know?
Right.
But then there's other people that are like, well, if I'm selling, you know, $1,000 a month on eBay currently, and I have a 40-hour week job, you know, say I'm spending like 10 hours a week on eBay right now, and I'm making $1,000 a month. If I quit my job and I have 40 more hours a week, then I can do 50 hours a week eBay, and then I can make $5,000 a month. I'm like, no, it's not like that either. It's never going to be like a 1-to-1 like time income ratio. So I think somewhere in the middle of those two scenarios is where you have to be. I was talking to Cincinnati Picker when I got laid off. Like, the day I got laid off, I sent him a message on Facebook, and I was just seeing what he had to say about it. And he gave me some really good advice. I don't want to go over everything, but basically it was just like, it's basically the same thing I told Art Vandelay, because he got laid off recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, right now, like, he's making YouTube videos, but I don't know if he's monetized yet. But if you're not monetized on YouTube, focus on eBay, because you need income right now.
Right.
Like if Joey said, if you were to quit your job, even though you are monetized on eBay, on YouTube, I would definitely keep making videos, like at least one a week, but really up the eBay game. Go sourcing every single day, list 10, 15, 20 things every single day, like Drew does. Get your eBay store built up, and then slowly incorporate more and more YouTube videos until you can get to, you know, I like to shoot for 3 videos a week. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I just do 2, but at least 2 videos a week. That way, as you build your audience on YouTube, you have a big eBay store for them to look at, you know, and I share it very freely with anybody that asks. I'd say probably 30 to 35% of my eBay sales come from viewers. And I'm super grateful for that, because I just had a viewer yesterday buy that Woolrich Christmas sweater for me for like $60. I think
Wow.
I paid like $4 for it.
Nice.
I mean, it's viewer sales can be huge, but you have to spend time creating the audience and providing entertainment and value for them to want to, you know, support you in return.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, you're working more than 40 hours a week, right?
Yeah, I'm on, it's called work assignment, and what I do is I just do my route only, and if I have overtime, I work accordingly to my, my day. So
Mhm.
usually, I leave the house around, let's say 7:45 and come home, around 6:30, on a good day,
Mhm.
5:30, because it takes 30 minutes to and from work, you know. Um, and it's, that's basically what it is.
Yeah, I think that, going back to what I was saying before, I kind of started off telling people what happened to me, is just ultimately everything in my personal opinion comes down to happiness. And, I know that sounds kind of cliche or Gary V ish, but for me, it really just speaks true because I don't think that any job I've ever had looking back, from where I am now as a reseller and, working for myself, having the freedom to spend time with my family, go to Disney, blah, 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 is worth any amount of money that I could have made at a full-time job where I wouldn't be able to see my family. And for me, the value is in spending time with my family and just, being able to hang out with my friends when I want and do whatever I want, volunteer at my church and things like that, which I'm very heavily involved in. So, for the average person who, let's say, is, obviously in Joey's case, okay, you have a full-time job, you have a girl, but you don't have kids, your family cares about you, you know, you have a nice house, but you have bills and things like that. It's tough because you obviously have to pay your bills, but I think, you know, when you are put in a position where it's, make or break time, it's, you know, the bottom of the ninth, bases are loaded, or, 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter and you got to make the last free throw from a foul or whatever to win the game. Your brain will mentally switch for most people into the what you call, fight or flight mode, which is you have to figure out some way to make money to pay your bills. And that's essentially what happened to me, kind of like when I lost my job, similar to Josh's situation, is I was in a place where I didn't have a choice. Like I had to make the money. I didn't have savings, 6 months savings to say like, well, I can go look for another job. I was going, okay, I need to start selling stuff that I have at my house, have a garage sale, or start posting stuff on OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace to make some cash. And there's just such a big spectrum in a situation like this for anybody, not just Joey, but for anybody, that you have to decide, what you can and can't handle mentally. But at the same time, if you don't believe in yourself, or if you don't trust the process to some extent, if you don't trust the eBay process, the listing process, the sourcing process, the online reseller process, you probably aren't going to make it, as harsh as that sounds. Because if your faith or your trust is in your current job, but you want to switch over to being full time, but you never believe in yourself, then you're always going to be stuck inside of a box that you put yourself in to think like, oh, well, what if this doesn't work out? Well, if it doesn't work out, you'd have to take some money out of your savings account to pay your bills and you go get another job. Like that's the way that I look at things, is I'm not just going to, you know, yeah, there's so many ways to talk about this. It's so hard. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard because you could say things like you never know until you try, you know, if you don't quit your job as a mailman or as a front desk clerk or a grocery store attendant or wherever you guys work, if you're listening to this and that's your situation, you never know until you try. There's always other jobs out there. You may not be another local mailman, you may not get that job back, but there's other jobs out there that you can easily do. I mean, you can walk into any car dealership with zero experience and get a job selling cars and potentially make 60 to $100,000 a year if you're a
I think
friendly
Joey would be pretty
person.
good at that too. His personality.
Yeah.
I'd buy a
Joey,
car from Joey.
yeah, I mean, Joey could be a top salesman at any car dealership he wants just because of his personality. So,
Mhm.
the way that I look at that, and it's a no experience job, they'll hire anybody off the streets because the most dealerships need help. Um,
Yeah.
but, point being is you obviously have to do, where you can handle yourself mentally. but I think also there's, the YOLO aspect that you only live once, you only have one life. When you die, at least I believe, you don't come back as a second Joey Bada Bing for a second chance, you
Yeah.
know, and that's just all there is to it. And if it doesn't work out, you don't take it as a loss. You just say, hey, eBay's not for me full time. I mean, a lot of Josh literally just put out that video. For those of you guys who know Josh, he's a great guy. He put out this awesome video 6 months after he stopped selling on eBay full time to tell people what happened. And there's no shame in that. And everybody is so proud of him for making a decision that ultimately makes him happy. He, left the military. He decided to go full time. He made it work for a little bit. It was too stressful for him, or, I don't want to put words in his mouth. You guys can go watch the YouTube video.
Yeah.
His living expenses are a lot higher than what they were at his, in New Jersey versus I think he was in like Georgia or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, he just came out with the video and said, now I'm a operations manager somewhere for Amazon, and he's a lot happier. Maybe he'll go back to doing eBay part-time here or there and thrifting and sourcing, but ultimately at the end of the day, he's like, yeah, it's just not for me full time. And then he went back and got another job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, looking back on someone like him, he's a perfect example of he tried it. He wasn't happy with it. He probably could have made it full time, but it didn't make him happy. So he went to somewhere where he was able to put himself in a situation that made him happy and comfortable. And now he can revisit his eBay store and say, oh, well, I can still make income doing this when I'm off work. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of a lot of Josh. He did that, and he actually sent out a package to me, and I was really excited because he messaged me on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey man, do you like Goofy?" And I was like, "Do I love Goofy?" And he sent me a package. It was a hat, and funny enough, my girl for last Christmas, she actually bought me the same exact hat that he sent me, and it was really funny. I just messaged him earlier today, and it was too funny. But yeah, going back onto me, what Drew's saying is like, I just want pure happiness. Like, I'm so happy with the job that I have, and I'm so thankful that I've gotten the car of my dreams, the house of my dreams, everything I could ever want. But I just want more. And I just feel like if I make this jump and the leap of faith, I know I can do it because I have the positive mindset. I have everything it takes. I just know I definitely could do this. And I have, a girlfriend that will always support me. I have a family, you guys, the YouTube community, Instagram community, everybody will just be behind me and ready, for me to do it. And I feel like it's going to be a great journey and a great, YouTube video. I don't know, man. I'm just super excited, and I feel like it's going to happen. So, my girl right now, she works for a law firm, and I know that one day we're going to do it together. And that's the ultimate goal, is for us to be together and enjoying our
Gonna be
lives
the
together.
new
And
Rally Roots.
basically the new Rally Roots or the new Hustling Hooks that's coming up right now. They're doing amazing.
Yeah.
I want to be like that, and it's not for the fame, it's not for anything, it's just pure happiness. I just want to be happy. I want to grow a family one day. I want to be there for their baseball games or their ballerina recitals, whatever it is. I and that goes for everyone listening on in. I mean, don't quit your job, like, don't do that. But I've done this for a year now, where I know I can go to a thrift store, a garage sale, a estate sale, anywhere, to just free stuff on Facebook. I mean, there's so many ways, so many avenues that you can make revenue off of nothing. I mean, stuff that's for free. Um, I just I know I have what it takes. I just need to do it. Like, I'm really considering it. And my birthday is coming up. It's January 2nd. And that's when I made my first sale last year. And I don't know, man. I feel like I need to put in my 2 weeks. And I'm not just saying it just to say it. I feel very confident with what I'm about to do. I have all the eggs, in the carton. I'm just so excited. Like, I keep saying it, but I know I'm going to do it. I just really need to dig deep and just go for it. Reach for the stars.
I think the most important thing for you to do, and anybody wanting to quit their job, and start their own business, whether that be reselling or something else, is to first make sure your budget is in line. Just like sit down and see,
Mhm.
like get on paper exactly how much money you need every single month to like cover all your bills, to cover all of your expenses, and then compare that number to how much your girlfriend makes and how much you think you can make with eBay, because that, like, having that number in the back of your head is really going to be important.
Mhm.
um, it's even better if you have 6 months of that expenses saved up in a savings account, because then you can have a nice little buffer.
Right.
Take 6 months, try it out. If you get 3 months in and you don't see any growth, then maybe you could start changing things up a bit. But I think if you start it, I think you're going to see some quick results. So I don't think that'll be a problem for you. But I mean, if you can get to a point where even if you take a part-time job somewhere, like just
Yeah.
put in the 2 weeks at the post office and then work 20 hours a week somewhere else, making 12-15 bucks an hour, just to help with that buffer, that will give you a little bit extra room in the budget, hopefully, and then that'll free up like 30 hours a week or so that you could put towards reselling in YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, in the world that we live in today too, it's when you really think about it, there's so many options to making money that I mean, you can drive Uber or Lyft, you can do Uber Eats, you can literally put out ads on Craigslist to hang people's Christmas lights for Christmas, and people are paying $250, for someone
Hmm.
to hang their Christmas lights for them. There's just, I mean, there's endless ways of making money. You can go on the free section of Craigslist and, pick up a couch, or something smaller, an end table, and sell it for $40. And you can do that over and over and over again. And Facebook Marketplace pickups, I mean, you don't have to have like an actual 9 to 5 clock in, clock out part time job. You could do anything that, you know, um, you could give, for someone like Joey, I mean, you could literally put out that you can give baseball lessons to kids who want to learn how to play baseball. I mean, there's so many things you can do that people will pay you for. Um, that all you have to do is put out the ad, or put it out there that you are doing this, or, you know, you can rent out your Tesla on Turo. You know what I mean? Didn't
Yeah.
Graham Stephan do something like that? So
It was, yeah, some girl that was, I think she was on Graham Stephan's
Shelby Church.
show. Shelby Church, yeah, she ran out her Tesla on tour. I think she got like two. I think it was like a weekend, and she made like two, almost $300 or so.
That's crazy.
yeah,
But
I mean,
I
I
don't
think
think Joey's gonna rent out the Tesla though.
No.
the average dollar amount though for like a Tesla or a high-end car, I think is like between 67 and $99 a day for a
Yeah,
rental. So, I mean, for gosh sakes, you go sourcing. Now, obviously Joey's very particular of his Tesla, but it's, the point is that you can make money doing anything. You can rent out your car if you have a fairly decent car on
yeah,
Turo on the days that you're staying home and listing, and someone can borrow your car and bring it home before dinner or the next day or however it works, and you literally just stayed at home and listed, and then because you didn't have a car you had to stay home and list,
yeah.
so it motivated you, and you're making money while you're listing and making money. So
Mhm.
Speaking of motivation, I will say, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a point in your life where like money was really, really tight. Like when you get to a certain, you're backed into a corner financially where I had this job that I hated. It was at a deli, and I was making like $8 an hour, and it was the most miserable job I've ever had in my life. Like I hated waking up every morning. I hated my boss. Like it was awful. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna quit. I'm not gonna put in 2 weeks. I don't have another job. I'm just gonna quit. Like, because it was all about happiness. Like I am absolutely miserably depressed every waking moment of my life, because I'm either at work or I'm thinking about how terrible work was, and
Mhm.
I'm thinking about how terrible work is going to be. I hated it. So I quit. And in my mind, I was like, it's fine. I was like 21 at the time. I was that, yeah, never been fired from a job. I was like, I can easily get another job making $8 an hour. And I couldn't. Like, I was going to like Burger King, like dressed up, in a shirt and tie, and they wouldn't even give me an interview. I'm
Wow.
like, what is this, dude? Like, this is like, I got to be, I went 45 days unemployed between that job and the next job, and I didn't have any money. I remember I went to the groceries. I had like a car payment at the time, and really should. I don't know. I was proud of myself that I never missed a payment on anything, but that made it to where I was like making my $320 a month car payment, but then I had $9 to buy groceries for that week. I remember going to the grocery store, $9. I bought like a bag of oranges and a pack of hot dogs. I'm like, man, this just sucks. Like
Yeah.
I've got to do something. And when you're faced with a situation like that, you really start to get creative about ways to make money. And so like I started going downtown on the weekends and I would play guitar. Like I would busk, I think that's what it's called. Like open up your case and just play guitar.
Mhm. Mhm.
And for like a month, like that's for the month I was unemployed, that's how I made all my money. I made my car payment that month with that, paid rent with that. And it was weird. Like I'd done it before with my friends, like for fun, but in that moment I was doing it out of necessity because
Right.
I wasn't reselling at the time. I didn't know anything about eBay. And it I don't know, you just get really creative when it comes down to it. Like if you run out of options and you run out of money, and this was back, 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. So now I would have just started driving for Uber with my car that I just made the payment on, or I would have started doing DoorDash or something. There's tons of opportunities right now. And also you're young, dude. Like how
Yeah.
old are you, Joey?
I'm 23, about to be 24.
Dude, I know people that are 40. Like the older you get, you really see more people in life that really don't have it figured out. I mean, there's people 40, 50 years old that I know that are working jobs making $12 an hour,
Not
Right.
even
I'm like,
sometimes.
Yeah.
not even, yeah. And it's just like, man. And Gary Vee talks about all the time, like, dude, your 20s is when you should explore. He's like, so many kids these days are, 15 years old and they're already thinking about college. And then they go to college and they're already thinking about their career. And he's like, you need to take some time to be a kid. You
Right.
need to
Right.
like enjoy yourself, explore. He's like, there's so many people now that have just like older people in the 30s, 40, 50-year-old range that were forced into choosing their career when they were so young. And now, they got laid off from their job that they thought they were going to work at forever. That's my thing. I thought I was going to be at my insurance job forever. I was like, oh, people are always going to need insurance underwriters, blah, blah, blah. And bam, gone. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you can always get another job
There's
as long
always
as
right. Keep going. Keep going.
now, I mean, as long as you leave the post office on a good note, and putting in your 2 weeks notice and like making sure everybody understands. Just I feel like people are really understanding. Like I don't know, some people were worried about like the gap on their resume. Like, what do I do if it doesn't work out and then I go apply for a job later and I have to explain what happened? I'm like, you just explain what happened. You wanted to start your own business. You tried. It didn't work out. So now you're going back into the field. That's exactly what a lot of Josh went through.
Hmm.
He had a
Yeah.
gap on his resume from when he quit the military to starting his job at Amazon, and he got hired
Hmm.
because most companies are going to respect that.
There's plenty of places that'll hire you without credentials to any extent as well. Like I said, I mean, you could get a job. My buddy Dalton, from dealing with Dalton on YouTube and Instagram, uh, he was a server at Bahama Breeze, which is a restaurant here in Florida. I'm not sure if they're national or whatever, but and he was making good money working like 3 days a week as a server. And some restaurants require you to have some experience, but there are restaurants you can literally walk into and get a job as a server at a Chili's or anything, any type of restaurant, and you can make $100 a night, serving at a base level restaurant, because people still have to pay tip, and just because you're
I
at
don't have
Chili's
to.
doesn't mean that people are spending $10. People still have full meals there. So it's just amazing, like I said earlier, the world that we live in, that the options are literally endless. And what we were talking about with you, Joey, is your happiness. And it seems like that no matter what you do with the post office, you said you're happy, but are you really happy? Because it doesn't sound like you are. As far as your freedom, you're
Right.
happy with the job because you're making good money. You enjoy being the local mailman. It's a pretty simple job as far as like what you do. It's not back-breaking work or anything like that. For the most extent, I'm not downplaying the job, so don't get me wrong there. But um, the freedom that you want versus the happiness that the money gives you from that job are two different types of happinesses. Happiness, it could be having job security, knowing that your bills are going to be paid and that your family is taken care of. Or happiness could be having the freedom to do whatever you want whenever you want, and you're making enough money to live that lifestyle. One of the things that a lot of people, have asked me is like, hey, how much money do you make? People are in my Instagram DMs going, how are you able to be a full-time reseller and have two kids? And I'm very blessed in the situation that I am. Um, we have owned multiple businesses, my wife and I, and one of the businesses we sold, and we used that money for a down payment on the house that we currently live in. Our mortgage is extremely, extremely low, for a typical mortgage. So I'm very thankful for that. And that's one of the reasons I'm able to be a full-time reseller without any worries, because I'm in a position where my mortgage isn't overwhelming me, because I, you know, was responsible with my money, years ago.
Yeah.
And so, no, I'm not making $100,000 net, $200,000 net, or whatever, um, by reselling, used stuff on eBay right now. But I'd like to grow my business to get there. And I think that I can when I hire employees and scale my store and stuff like that. But right now, my wife and I are making sacrifices by living in a smaller house with two kids, something that we are, in my opinion, outgrowing. But because our mortgage is so low, there's no reason to um, to buy a bigger house at the moment, because we're saving money. And once our mortgage is paid off, which hopefully we can pay it off in a year or so, um, completely, then I can turn this into passive income for the rest of my life and rent it out.
Yeah.
So, there's so many options out there, for everybody that's listening, and especially you, Joey, sorry, I just dropped my cell phone, but um, it 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 really has to come down to, for you, Joey, or for anybody that's listening, what drives you to be happy in life? Like, what are the things? Write them down on paper, or talk about it with your partner, or whatever. What makes you happy? Is it job security? Is it freedom? Is it being able to go to Disney on the weekends? What is it? Is it having a fancy car that you can, because you like to drive, or a motorcycle that you can ride on the weekends with your buddies, or just having a poker table in your spare bedroom that your friends can come over and play poker, once a week, and that makes you happy. My wife and I like to entertain people. So, one thing that makes us happy is being able to have a bigger backyard with the property that we live in, where we can host stuff and we can hang out outside, we can barbecue, do whatever, and still have people inside. But we enjoy those kinds of things. Like, the time that I can spend with my friends is more valuable than any dollar that I could make. And of course, I want to make a lot of money. Everybody wants to make a lot of money, but time is so short that chasing money every day is not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100% to that. Just rolling off of what you're saying is, you know, that job security was, my parents say, this is, it's your job. You have such a great job. Or even people at work, like I've talked to them and said, hey, I know you guys watch my YouTube videos sometimes, and they kind of like laugh at me like, oh, why don't you just work more or just work overtime at the post office? I'm like, no, because that's not making me happy. I'd rather
It's
go
not
to
about the money.
it's not about the money, dude. I'd rather be with my girl or with you guys, or flying out to you guys and go thrifting with you, and knowing that I have items to bring home to list, or even to list them right there. Like, I just know that I can do it. Like, and I keep telling myself this, and I'm motivating myself, and I can't wait to listen to this back and probably put in my 2 weeks tomorrow. Like, I just really do. Like, I feel like I've thought about this a lot. I've thought about this with my dad. I thought about this with my mom, my girl, and my girl's like,
So,
why aren't you quitting? Like, what'd you say?
what do your parents say?
My dad is an entrepreneur. So my dad, he sells golf carts, and he buys golf carts for like, 1,000, sells them for like 3,500. And he like, it's a really, really good thing.
Hmm.
And I look up to him, and I never looked at like at that before. I thought like, hey, I gotta have a job. Like, I can't like
Hmm.
buy a golf cart. I don't even have the money for that. But just knowing that I have a job, I feel safe, and I'm sure anybody would feel safe. Like, you don't know what it's like to be out there, or I don't know yet, like to be, I have no job. I need to go out there and go make money. But I do know now because I've been doing this for a year and I've been doing it part time. And you could look at my eBay sales. I mean, right now in my 90-day total, it's like 4,200 right now, and you take
Mhm.
away fees and stuff like that. I mean, that's an extra that's a lot of money. I really think that's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's paying for most of my bills. I mean, and I'm having fun going out to dinner and not having to worry about paying for my house, or electric, water, for my car. And a lot of people say, like, well, you have a Tesla, like, why do you have a Tesla? Like, you're overburdened. And I'm like, well, it makes me happy. It's not about showing off. It's not about any of that. I just love my car. I would never
Mhm.
buy any other vehicle because it's like a golf cart. Like, I just love it. The way you drive it, the way it drives itself. I mean, it could park itself. Like, there's so many
Yeah.
cool things about it. And I don't.
You also like I don't want to tell your business, but you saved up a ton of money for the car you
Oh, I
got
did.
before that
Yeah.
and then traded it. So your payment is probably lower than most people.
Yeah. Well, like, the car itself, I could.
Like you didn't finance the whole Tesla. You're not paying
No.
like $1,000 a month in
No,
payment.
no, no, no. Not even close.
Yeah.
So I
I think
definitely.
that's something I think people when they see a Tesla, they instantly think like, "Oh, that guy's paying, $800 to $1,000 a month for
No.
his car payment." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Nah."
I worked very hard, guys. Like, and for the people that are listening, I worked for Publix, and I'm sure you guys heard us talk about that before. But I saved up a bunch of money, and what I was doing on the side was Instacart. I'm sure everyone's heard about that, but in the time before, it was brand new, and I was working I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I work at Publix 3 to 11. I would just work Instacart all morning long. And that was the best time to do it because people want their, groceries in the morning. And I just, it worked out so well for me. But look at the time, dude. I was waking up at like 5:30 in the morning, get in my
Yeah.
car. I had a Fiat 500. I was driving all the way to about half an hour away from me in the good areas, and I would work until 2. I would drive 30 minutes back to my job and work until 11, and then come home at like 11:30. Like,
Yeah.
that was nuts. Like, normal people do that every day. How do you live
Their
your life?
entire lives.
Yes, your entire lives. And I don't want to do that. I don't want my girl or my kids or anybody to do that. I feel like that's horrible. You're not even living your life. You're literally working for somebody else. Why work for somebody else? Work for yourself. Make yourself happy. Like,
Yeah.
it makes me want to cry because people do that every day and they think it's okay. They think that's society, like, that's what society tells you to do. Be yourself. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise because, I got in trouble at the post office for, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I don't even care anymore. But, I
I
didn't
can
put,
blurt it out later if I have to.
I, I,
Let's not get you arrested.
look, it's very simple. I didn't put in the mileage in the mail truck. I mean, it's those little things, like, come on, man. Like, they pressure me and pressure everybody. Hey, you got to be back in 8 hours, blah, 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 blah. Like, I just don't want to be pressured. And I know one day, like, when I do this, and I'm going to feel like stressed out because, I got to pay the bills, but you work your way towards it. You got to start from the bottom. And once you work to the top, man, I mean, I want to be like Josh. I want to be like Drew. You guys, I look up to you guys, and I never knew that I could be able to do this. I'm just so thankful for what I have, how I started, from that
Mhm.
lady that had those 3 packages every day that I picked up on my route. And, I thank her, and I thank Rally Roots. I thank Josh, a lot of Josh, Drew, everybody. Like, it's just a true blessing. Like, this whole year, even though it's been the worst year for most people, and this has been the best year of my life. Like, it
Yeah.
changed my life. Like, and I just cannot wait to change many more lives, like how you guys change people's lives. Like, I want to do that too. And, that's pure happiness right there. Just imagine, like,
So here's what I'm thinking. How close are you with like the boss, like your boss at work?
see, like, there's multiple supervisors, and, like, there's one big boss, and the one big boss hates me because I hang out with people he doesn't like. So I, my job, like, they hate me there. Like, and I'm the nicest person you'll ever meet in your life,
Yeah.
like ever. And he hates me. Like, I didn't even do anything to the guy. Nothing. I
Yeah.
smile at him every day. And he just like looks at me like I'm nobody. And I don't want to feel like that no more, you know?
Here's what I would do. This is my personal opinion. If I was in Joey Bada Bing 22's shoes, this is what I would do. I would not put in my 2 weeks notice, but I would take a 2-week paid vacation. If you have paid time off, you might as well use it before you quit anyway. Well, answer that question. Do you have paid time off?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So what I would do is I would take my paid time off. If they won't let you take it during this Christmas season, then obviously like, well, you got to work the next 2 weeks during Christmas because it's like the busiest time of the year for the postal service or whatever. But the beginning of the year or as soon as you can, I take 2 weeks paid vacation. So you're getting paid. You've already earned it from the post office. So it's not like something that you have to build back up. And I go ham. Like I'm talking, I make 4 or 5 YouTube videos a week. I go to thrift stores every single day, multiple times a day. I'm checking for restocks. I'm looking, up and down every aisle. I'm learning new products and I'm recording everything that I'm doing as I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you build up and you see what you can accomplish in 2 weeks of not having to think about your other job. And you just feed that fire. You're getting paid, so your bills are somewhat covered. And then you just add on top of that with to see what you can do with reselling. And 2 weeks should be plenty of time to know, okay, are the thrift stores in my area good enough? Am I a good enough picker? Am I sourcing smart enough? Am I using Facebook Marketplace enough to make enough money to cover myself if I didn't have this post office income? And that's what I would do, because then if it doesn't work out, you can say, well, no problem. I can still sell on eBay part-time. I can still make YouTube videos part-time until I'm in a financial position where I've saved up enough money where I dive in full-time. If you are in a position where you can dive in full-time and monetarily it doesn't matter, then fine, quit your job. But from what I understand, you're not there. Like I would say 3 to 6 months of income in your savings account plus, extra here and there, whatever. But if you have paid time off at the post office, you might as well take advantage of it and then use that to just go ham and see how far you can take this reselling thing in 2 weeks. And you set a goal to list 30 things a day for the next 2 weeks, or you source 3 times a day. Like, my buddy Dom, Michigan Thrift, he has this store that he goes to. He checks it like 3 to 5 times a day sometimes. And every time he goes, he finds something different that they've restocked. Now, not all thrift stores are as good as that, but he's got this honey hole that he goes to sometimes 3 times a day. And if you can do that because you have no other job, you don't have kids, Destiny's at work or whatever, then you do it, bro. You be out in the trenches. You be sitting on your phone on Facebook Marketplace and doing that thing, as hard as you can for those 2 weeks while you're still getting paid from the post office. And then that will let you know where your brain's at, if you can handle it and if you can do it.
Yeah, I like that. I really do. I think that's something very doable. I'm excited. I really think that's very doable.
The only thing I would not really disagree. The only thing I would change is I wouldn't try to do both eBay and YouTube like full throttle in that time. I would personally focus just on eBay. Like you can still make 1 or 2 videos a week, but if you're trying to like go to thrift stores every single day, multiple times a day, list 20 things a day, and make 3 to 4 YouTube videos a week, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
And again, your focus right now is not really growing your YouTube audience, because that's going to come naturally. Your focus in that 2 week period, in my opinion, I love you so much, Joe. I'm not trying to disagree.
No,
I just think it would be a better use of your time to focus 100% on sourcing and listing as many things as possible. Because how many things do you have listed currently?
I just
like
sold
140.
Listen,
Really?
I sold 4 things today, so I'm at like 185, I think.
You need to get that up to 500 in 2 weeks. You need to put in your 2 weeks, not 2 weeks notice. Take a 2-week paid vacation. No Disney, no SeaWorld, no sitting on your bed, throwing a ball in the air, no watching Monday Night Football. I'm talking about freaking grinding, baby. And you need to get 500 listings.
Dude, it's doable. I can do it. Let's go. I know I can, baby. Like, that motivates me so much. Like, that's what I want to hear. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's for anybody out there listening too. Like, if you're in this position, or you know, I've been in the position for a long time. Like, it's been overdue, and I really need it. I needed this. Like, thank you guys. Like, I have the chills. Like, I feel good. Like, I feel really good about this.
All right.
I mean,
Well, let's go make it happen.
Make it happen. I would feel bad if you quit your job and then it didn't work out. Obviously.
No, don't feel bad.
So just I mean, you're I feel like you're on a little high right now. You know, nothing
yeah,
wrong
I
with
got
that.
you.
But I would just take some time tonight, sit down with Destiny, and make like a pros and cons list. Like, at your job now, you've got the steady paycheck, like the pros. You got the paycheck, you've got the health benefits, you got the retirement, and that's pretty much it. Right? That's the only pros.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only pros.
That's pretty much it. You don't have any kids right now, so health insurance. People always ask me about health insurance. Like, it made my income video. You know, that September month made 15 grand before taxes, and some lady was like, "Well, what about health insurance?" I'm like, "Yeah, I paid $210 a month for health insurance." Like, it's not, if you don't have kids. Like, my wife has her own policy through her work, no kids, so health insurance for you is going to be very, very cheap. You know, just factor that into your monthly budget if that's something you're not paying right now. And then like, look at the cons of the job. So like the pros and cons of the job, and then the pros and cons of eBay, like doing eBay full time, and just make sure you fully understand the full situation. Like, if you quit this job, your last paycheck is going to be on this day for this amount. You're going to have this amount of PTO paid out at the end. Even if you quit, you could usually, I'm pretty sure jobs have to pay you out your PTO. So if you've got 2 weeks saved and you quit, you basically get your last paycheck plus another 2 weeks. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I did when I quit. I had like 12 days of PTO, and they had to add that to my last paycheck.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you know, look at that, and you just make sure you're aware of everything financially. Look at your savings, look at your monthly budget. You know, assuming you made no money in reselling, like not a single dollar, how long could you stay afloat without a cash influx? Just make sure you fully understand everything. And then, I mean, like I said, I mean, I probably wouldn't quit now because it's December, and then people are already like, you know, stressed. So maybe January, man, you start slowing down a little bit. Maybe just take the plunge.
Yeah.
I was asking about your boss earlier because I feel like the post office is always going to need people. And if you can go in there with, like, even if a different post office or something, and apply for a job, like, hey, I had my own route for a year or whatever, and, you know, I just quit to start my own business. It didn't really work out. I'm sure you could always go back, or you can find another job, something that's not so stressful, you know?
Yeah, I agree, man. I guess
But
I'm on that high right now. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just like really, really want it. You guys know.
The good thing is, it's not going to take long to see if you're going to be successful. Like, I got laid off in August. The day I got laid off, I think I was at 2,000 subs. I had like 250 active listings, and I'm pretty sure that's what it was when I got laid off, August 18th. And then Christmas Eve of that year, so like August, September, October, November, 4 months later, I think I was at like 600 active listings. I just hit 6,000 subscribers. I had 6,000 subscribers on Christmas Eve. And then the next month, January, is the first month where I actually made more money than I would have if I would have stayed at my job. So it only took me 4 months to actually increase my income, like not just replacing it, but increase. And I mean, definitely get the passion. I mean, I think you're going to learn a lot, like going into it full time. Like, you're going to watch YouTube videos about editing and how to make not saying your videos are bad, but how to improve. There's always room for improvement. I don't care who you are.
Of course.
He's not saying your videos are bad because he's saying my videos are bad.
Yeah. Look at Drew's. If you ever feel bad, just go watch Drew's videos. I'm
No
kidding.
wonder that guy
Both
has
of you guys, I want to take this time in the podcast to apologize to Drew, because I called Joey my best friend and I called Drew my friend. So Drew and Joey are both my best friend. Joey is just more exciting.
Well, I'm your biggest
that
fan.
long pause, Drew.
Well, I'm your
like,
biggest. Well, I'm your biggest fan. That's why.
I'm gonna go start a podcast with Rally Roots instead.
Oh,
I love you guys. And Joey, I'm excited for you, man. I really think, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of the risk. And like I said, I don't know your whole financial situation, but I mean, if you've got a decent amount of savings and, your girlfriend's on board and, I think people on YouTube are going to really support you. Like if you do quit, I'm sure like I would give you a shout out. Drew would give you a shout out. We could probably get Rally Roots to give you a shout out. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to support you. Come to the channel, subscribe, buy from your store. I mean, people want to see you make it, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's rooting for you.
I appreciate
So
that.
Everybody's rally rooting for you.
That's what I was about
Rally
to. I was
rooting for
just about to say that. That's funny.
I mean, that's what and people. Anytime, I don't know. There's a one like when I got my store suspended. I wasn't even asking for support. I was just like, this sucks, but it's fine. But I still sold like 40 things that one day just from people in the live stream that wanted to support me, and help me through that time.
Mhm.
Even though I was like told them multiple times, like, please stop buying stuff because people just kept going, man.
Yeah, you said like I'm not putting my I'm not putting my eBay link in the chat.
Yeah, I
right
was like,
now.
I'm not doing it anymore. No, but yeah, I don't know. You make really good videos and you make people smile, and people, if they see you trying out full time, they're gonna go all in and support you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I have the chills,
Just link
man.
your Venmo, Cash App in all of your videos. Like, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. Also, Venmo me $5. Really appreciate it.
So I
People on TikTok do that and somehow get people to send them money. Like they make
Yeah.
these videos going, "My boyfriend left me in my apartment and I have nothing. My Venmo
If
link
everybody
is in my
sends me
bio."
$1,
Or like like there are some that are really good causes. Don't get me wrong, but there are some that I'm just like the lady who does the Venmo challenge or whatever, where people Venmo her money and then she gives it all away. Like I think it's really
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
and it's like changing people's lives. And there's other people who are like, my brother's a gamer and he's been streaming for 3 years, and I make him blue drinks and hot dogs because we have no money to support him, but it's his dream. So you can go donate to his Twitch, and then like he's got like $50,000 from Twitch streamer donation.
Jeez.
You're like,
I was
what
like,
the heck?
if you've been
TikTok?
doing anything in like entertainment, social media for 3 years and you don't have an audience yet, you're obviously not good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube probably takes the longest amount of time to grow. I don't know what Twitch is like building an audience, but YouTube's tough.
It is
Um,
tough.
But yeah, dude, TikTok, there's people on TikTok that do the things where they're like, if everybody likes and shares this video, I can make enough from TikTok to do this. And some lady, I forget what she was raising money for, but it was like $10,000. And I was like, do you know how many views and likes this video would have to get for you to make $10,000?
Yeah.
Like it would have to get like 400 million views
Mhm.
for it to make that much. I'm like, that's impossible. Like you might, like somebody I know has a TikTok with like 800,000 views, and I think she's made like $40.
Yeah, you get
And
I
so
think
like,
it's 3 cents every like
1,000 views.
1,000. Yeah, every 1,000
yeah,
views.
it's much easier to go viral on TikTok, but there's way more money in YouTube. Like my my Crazy Casboys video from last week, those customers were monsters. That video just hit 50,000 views today, and it's made almost $1,000 just that one
Wow.
video.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and it's like the view to income ratio on YouTube is just so much better. And every
clickbait
video
to
is
income
different.
ratio is so good.
What is
It's
that from?
real quick side note. It's so funny because I did an Instagram poll a couple weeks ago asking people, do they like clickbaity videos that draw them in to want to see what really happens, or do they want honest titles of what's going on in the video, like what sold, or you know, um, whatever, the thrifting at Goodwill versus you won't believe what this Goodwill had, or something like that. And it was like 64% to 36% people saying they wanted honest video titles, but the ones that people click on are the clickbait ones.
Yeah,
It
dude,
never fails.
people like what people say versus what they actually do is always different. Clickbait will always work. And the clickbait has like a really negative connotation, but as long as you like clickbait is only bad if it's like a video with like some girl in a bikini with a bunch of cleavage, and you click it and it's like something that has nothing to do with that. Like my video, I guess it was clickbait. Like these customers were monsters, has a picture of like the pallet ripped apart, but that happened. The pallet was ripped apart, and the customers, they were monsters. So as long as you deliver, it's not clickbait. It's the ability to create an intriguing thumbnail and title. That is what people think a clickbait is. You don't want to give it away. Like people say they want like, oh, tell me this is everything that sold on eBay for this month. And like, that's not going to get views, nearly as many views as this $4 item I got at Goodwill sold on eBay for $1,500. Like that's way more. Like people are curious, like what was the item,
Yeah.
People are always going to say they don't like clickbait, but they secretly do. They just don't know it.
It's psychological.
Yeah, Drew, you need to do more clickbait.
Oh, I'm gonna start clickbaiting.
You got to think of what you click on, and also what your video. What's the point of the video? Like my last video was not to gain subscribers; it was to help the people that were already subscribed. Like it was about like my daily checklist for eBay and YouTube success. That I knew that video was not going to get good views. I knew it wasn't about the money. That video was specifically to help people that wanted to know how to be successful on eBay and YouTube. Whereas the Crazy Cavs Boys video, as I like filmed that, I filmed like the palette. I was like, that's my thumbnail right there. And then somebody's like, man, these people are monsters. So I was like, there's my title. And I like knew it. Going into it, I knew exactly how it was going to go. And it did. Like as you make more videos, you kind of learn like as you're making them, what's going to do better. I think the only video I was surprised about was my income video that did crappy, like got no views. And that just, I talked about it in my last video that people apparently just don't care about that anymore. So you just have to learn what does better. I've got another Cavs Boys video in the editing block right now, trying to see if that one can do just as well as the last one. I don't think it will because I didn't get any crazy thing on the camera. But
yeah, I can't wait to get back to making videos. Like I have some ideas for videos that I was going to do while I was sick, but I was like, I'm not going to be able to execute them with the energy and the efficiency that I need to from not feeling my best. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait, and I might do a live video tonight, scanning some DVDs that I got for free from a friend, and just talking about how I've been doing and how COVID has affected my reselling business, and then just scan DVDs. I've got 400 DVDs I got to scan into Declutter and try to sell them, the Declutter app. So see how much money I can make doing that, and maybe just talk about it. But either way, I'm just I'm excited for your future, Joey.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking about his video. I was like, okay, Joe, if you do quit, you definitely need to film it. And the title can be something like, I quit my job at the post office to sell on eBay full time.
Yeah.
Now what? Or something, maybe something a little shorter. But the thumbnail
These managers were monsters.
These managers were monsters. The thumbnail is like you like giving like your 2 weeks notice to your boss, and your boss like has like this look on his face like you're making a big mistake, and then you're just like looking back at the camera like smirking, like, I got this.
I wish I could film, but I don't think I could film in the post office.
Just slap a GoPro on your head, he'll never see it.
Right on my chest.
Well, guys, we've been a little over an hour on this podcast, and I think we've discussed some pretty interesting topics today. This was actually, I don't think the direction we were originally thinking we were going to go, but I actually really enjoyed this conversation, just talking about life, work, jobs, happiness, those types of things. So hopefully you guys took some value away from this. If you're listening and you're part-time and or full-time, maybe some of these things that we've talked about or suggested can help you or motivate you in your reselling business or taking the next step from part-time to full-time. Or if you just want to talk about it, you can feel free to reach out to any of us via Instagram. Is probably the easiest, I'd say, for all three of us. Obviously, mine is Drew_Thrifts and Flips. You can reach Josh at Harry Tornado, and then Joey's is Joey Bada Bing 22. So if you guys ever need to talk about anything, we're all here. We're all here to motivate, inspire, help, and encourage you in any way, shape, or form that we can. Right, guys?
Yes, sir. Right. Before we end this, we have our specific names like in the chat right here. and we could see it with our names and stuff. Like, and Drew put Harry Tornado, and I'm like, I thought that was Josh. Then I look up and that's Josh. And then it's so funny because I changed my name on purpose, and we didn't even talk about this. Okay, mine's Joey Bing Bada 22, and no one.
I just noticed that.
Oh my god!
So we did not plan this. I just really thought that was
I
funny.
didn't notice that. Wow.
Wait, so Drew, you
I
typed
did,
in Harry
yes.
Tornado? Okay, I was like, oh man, that's messed up. That's gonna throw me off in editing now. But okay, now I know. I'm Josh Farnell, Joey Bing Bada
Joey
22, and Harry
Bing Bada.
Tornado.
That's hard to say.
I really like how Bing Bada just rolls off the tongue.
Joey Bing Bada 22. That doesn't even sound right.
No, it sounds terrible. All right, well, that's it. Love you so much.